thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us today, and thank you very much for having us here at this event.
Pleasure.
Why? I got to ask, why put on this event? Why would you put yourself through the process of getting all the people here, all the logistics? Why do that in the first instance? What's your motivation?
I could talk about that for hours. It's a very personal thing. It's something that my wife and I started 13 years ago. I actually come from a long track record of technology sales to the banking sector. And when the crisis hit in 2008, everything became more difficult. And as a result, we decided to stop trying to sell software and services to banks, but to create a network from all the bankers that we knew already and try and invite others to come and try and sell to the banking sector. So that is how 13 years ago our organization started. Since then, we've been doing monthly networking events. That was expanded in 2013 with annual banking forums, which then doubled and tripled, and it's now become a way of life.
So you're now at the stage, and I love this sort of thought process where, like, you've got that network. You could probably realistically go and work at a bank or wherever. You have your choice as to what you do. What is it about yourself that this connects with? Like, what is it about yourself, your personality, your history, as to why you'd want to actually be the one here putting this on, as opposed to going and doing something with somebody else?
I just love meeting new people. If you look at, I've always been in sales, and the best part about my job was not necessarily the thrill of signing up a new contract, but it was also the thrill of meeting a new bank. Even if I would never see them again, if they wouldn't buy, it was somebody else that I got to know, that I learned more about him and about his business. If you look at what we do now with the Banking 50, with Wisselbanck, with this event and our new initiative, Fintech Netherlands, we just grow this community. We grow it in terms of banking, in terms of non-banking, in terms of the regulator. We've got lots of fintechs, banking technology companies, as I prefer to call them. Bring them all on board. Just one big happy family.
Excellent, excellent. And the event's been going pretty well. How have you found the event so far, and what's been some of the feedback for it?
The feedback has been very, very positive. It's interesting to see that we have a group of 25 people who are here for the Banking Renaissance Retreat. So they started a day earlier and they'll continue tomorrow for one day more. That's workshops with our academic partner, i.e. Business School, our consulting partner, McKinsey. That's all working out very nicely. They love that business school vibe to it. But then of course we've got 7 people on stage here, 7 people that everybody knows, but they've never been on stage all together. So to bring all of that here is pretty exciting.
All right, I've got to ask, it's one of those things like, when you see a movie and you go, how the hell did they get that cast together? How, you've got, it's kind of like a fintech mafia reunion. You've got Brett, Jim, Chris, David, Paolo, Connie, you've got so many people all here. How did you manage to wrangle that?
Well, we even had to divert a few more to our event in June. Otherwise it would just simply become too full. Brett and I go back a long way. Brett was a speaker in 2013 when I said we organized our first big banking conference in Ukraine. He has since then been a speaker in 2017. He was a speaker last November. We have Brett again. Brett just is one of those people who keeps coming up with new stuff that people want to hear. He's been very influential, especially in Eastern Europe, in the careers of the bankers that we have in our network. Jim, of course, Jim and Brett, they go hand in hand. Wherever you see Brett, you see Jim. Chris has been very popular in Ukraine. That's how we learned more about Chris. And the thing is with these influencers is that, once you get 1 or 2 on board, I'll just throw in the word, you can cut it out later, but Jim Maroos called it a dick measuring contest, where, when you get 2 or 3, the next one wants to be there, the next one wants to be there. And I also asked Brett, is it a good thing or a bad thing that with this phenomenal speaker faculty that we have, that you are first up, or is it better to be last? Kind of like a Eurovision question. And he says, well, I like to set the benchmark, I'm good to be there. But and Jim said the same thing. He said, I'm the second one. Brett set the benchmark. I've got to do better now. And then Chris went, I've got to do one more better. So it's a really nice competition between these influencers you get as well.
That is good. It's not like it's competitive to bring each other up. I like that, and I've definitely seen that with some of what's been happening in there. That's the other question I have is a lot of. Let's be very realistic. Post-pandemic, there's been a lot of debate about events and in-person events and where is the value. And there's some big conferences here in the Netherlands recently where you've been going, okay, I get value from this, but not value from that. And then on the flip side, you then have new events entering the scene. Like, I'm very curious for Fintech Meetup, which is an online first event and now a physical one. Mm-hmm. So my question is, where do you see events moving forward? What part and what role do they play in the ecosystem?
Tough question.
Yeah,
it's
and give the answer. A lot of people want to know this because if you practice, then.
Well, I wish I had the crystal ball for that. But then again, if I had the crystal ball and it would say that online events are becoming a thing for the future, then I guess I would be that odd man out, because the strength of our network for 13 years and also in our events is the personal connection. I always say we will never be a Sybos, we will never be a Finovate, we will never be a Money 2020. We've got up to 300 people here. We will never get bigger than this. And the reason is we know everybody who is here. We know all the bankers, we know all the technology firms. I know them, Jelena knows them. And the power of these events for us is in the connection. And we don't believe in apps where you need to look at other delegates, who is here, send them a message, would you like to see me for coffee, I'm at stand F53. That doesn't work. We will take and we say, hey Ali, this is Jim does this, Ali does that, have a talk, have a coffee. We've been doing that for 13 years and we will be doing that for the next 13 years. So that is where the future of our events is going for sure.
So I appreciate that, because I love a Money 2020. I love going to a Money 2020. But every time I've been to particularly Vegas, I have never left thinking I've turned over every opportunity, because there's just so much there. It's impossible to. So you always feel a little bit of FOMO with that. Whereas
let me tell you something exciting about this year's Money 2020. So our organization is going to be at Money 2020. We start our banking forum in June, the day before Money 2020 on 5th of June. And then we take our conference stage into Money 2020, where we have 3 more days. So imagine a big space of almost 100 square meters, and it will not be an exhibition stand, but a conference floor. Basically an extra stage at Money 2020. And we bring our banking community there, and that is going to be the place where the tech community meets the banking community, and that's how we plan to connect the people there.
That's absolutely perfect. I mean, you can see the link there.
Yeah.
Because I say what I like about here is there is that community feel. Like you can, I said, oh, where's so and so, and you go, oh, they're just over there. Like there's that. It's at the scale where you can still communicate and know everybody, and you can feel, yeah, we haven't left a stone unturned. We've hit every opportunity here.
Yeah.
It's a very an easy scale for one person to connect.
Yeah, good.
No, I've enjoyed. What's so aside from Money 2020, what else is on the agenda for the future for yourself?
Well, we organize monthly networking events for the Banking 50 community. So that is predominantly bankers. It's about a ratio of 3-to-1 of bankers versus non-bankers. We get together once a month on a topic that is hot in that month. So that can be a new technological development, a new regulatory development. We discuss that usually in the evening, 2-3 hours over a drink with 1 or 2 presentations. So that is every month. Then we have Money 2020 in June, and we have a repeat of the Banking Renaissance in a bit smaller scale, so a one-day event plus a 1 day of workshops in November.